Yeah, let's help you stress less in that department. Look at these beautiful plants. You're probably thinking, as the temperatures are getting warmer, as Rod mentioned a few minutes ago, what to put in the ground now that will help you create a wonderful summer garden. John Karam is at Tony's Garden Center for us this afternoon to give us advice about that. John, first of all, which vegetables should we get in the ground now?
Well, you know, this time of the year it's really easy to get eager and plant everything, but you want to be more careful about it. We do get our typical last frost in the middle of this month. So right now the focus is to be working towards your cold crops. And that's things like cabbages, lettuces, there's broccoli, all sorts of kales, you know, the spinach, a great number of others. So the cold crops are generally fine this time of the year. Next thing also would be your root vegetables, things like onions and potatoes. You want to put those things in now. It gives them a longer time to grow, and they don't mind the cold weather and the wet, so that's good for them. When you get into your seeds, that's your your radishes and carrots, that sort. If you're doing more lettuces by seed, there's a lot of people that like microgreens nowadays, and it's a good way to do it, easier than transplanting. You seed those directly in.
John, I'm wondering...
for this time of the year, that's what you want to start on.
Yeah, excuse me, John, wondering about having the soil ready. What do we need to do to our soil before we put those plants in?
Well, it kind of depends on if you're container growing, something like this, versus putting it in the ground. But if you're, say, planting in the ground, you want to use garden compost or other amendments, you can compost at home, and that works really well, or you can buy pre-made compost. Basically, you're trying to incorporate a lot of organic matter into the soil. You mix that up really well, and what that does is it adds some nutrients. It makes the soil nice and loose so the roots can root in better, and it also holds moisture better than just what's in the ground. Sometimes it's just hard and rocky or clay-like, and compost is really your best friend when it comes to gardening. If you're planting more in containers like these, not a great place for compost, unfortunately, or dirt from the ground. What you want to use is a good quality potting soil. These mixes are peat-based, and what they thrive as, again, holding nutrients well, but they drain well. They don't get hard. Dirt will become very hard as a rock in a container, but potting soils will handle a lot better. And they drain nutrients. It takes fertilizer really well. So you want to use a good potting soil when you're doing container growing, and that's going over to like fertilizers. Either way, fertilizing is a good idea. It's more important when you're in a container to fertilize, but of course in the ground with the composting, that goes a long way, but when you continue to feed, it does help. I think one of the most important things when gardening is always give back to the soil. If you continually compost throughout the year, you end up with a much better garden and a lot less struggles. You'll have less disease, you'll have less poor yields, things just do better, and you have to do less work in the long run if you keep adding compost and other good amendments to the soil.
Well, John, I can tell you are a wonderful resource out there at Tony's Garden Center, and those plants are so vibrant right now. It makes you want to get out there in the garden. So thanks for that advice this afternoon. Appreciate it.